Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, ayyuhal muslimun. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save us from every harmful disease, as well as to save us from coronavirus, which we are facing these days. Allahumma ameen. Brothers and sisters in Islam, I'd like to start my quick reminder to you by asking you a question. Do you want a successful trade? Do you want a successful business? Then if your answer is yes, listen to the verse from Al-Quran Al-Kareem which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke in Surah Fatir. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الذين يتلون كتاب الله. Verily, those who read the book of Allah, وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةِ, and those who establish the salat, i.e. they pray 5 times a day. وَأَنفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيًّا, and those who give charity from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided for them, secretly and openly. يَرْجُونَ تِجَارَةً لَن تَبُورَ. These people are aiming for a business or trade which we never finish, which we never perish. This is the trade we need, brothers and sisters in Islam. We need to set businesses with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Having a trade with Allah will never fail. And the only way you can have trade with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through these worships stated in this verse from Surah Fatir. Reading the book of Allah, Al-Quran Kareem, establishing the salat, and giving from that which Allah gave you, i.e. your wealth, spending for Allah's sake, secretly and openly. This is what we call a successful trade with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ikhwat al-Iman wal-Islam and worshippers of Allah, I'd like to remind you that it now has been at least 6 weeks since the lockdown of coronavirus it's been on for. During these times, lots of people have lost their jobs, lots of people have lost their loved ones, family members, and some of them lost their guardians who used to look after them. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. To Allah we belong, and to Him we all shall go back. Ikhwat al-Iman wal-Islam. Back home, in our countries, some Arab countries, African countries, Asian countries, there are people who are truly suffering from this crisis and lockdowns. There are people who have not enough food to eat. In those countries, often or very often, people do not have the support they need from their government. They hardly receive any social benefits, and you know that very well, Ikhwat al-Iman wal-Islam. And if they receive some social benefits, then it will surely be not enough to feed the entire family. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us and help these people. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Your charity today is desperately needed for this Ramadan. Yes, indeed, is desperately needed in this Ramadan. Some of these needy people might fast all day long because they hardly have anything to break their fast with. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. This Ramadan, try to be as generous as you can like never before. This Ramadan is your chance to set a new business with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which will always increase you in wealth and iman. The Prophet of Islam says, مَا نَقَصَ مَالُ عَبْدٍ مِّن صَدَقَةٍ. Your wealth will never decrease when giving sadaqah for Allah's sake. This is the statement of your Rasul, which you follow in order to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ikhwat al-Iman wa Islam. Some of them would never beg you. Some of these people would never come and ask you for any financial help, because they are shy to do so. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about these people in the Quran. They might have children, they might have some family members with certain disabilities, and they have special needs, but they still don't come and ask you. They patiently wait for the qadr of Allah, for the rizq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to come to them. And they work very hard, but they earn very little. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about people like this in the Quran, يَحْسَبُهُمُ الْجَاهِلُ أَغْنِيَاءَ. Someone who does not know these people will think of them as if they are rich, because they never ask. You will always see them needless. يحسبهم الجاهل أغنياء من التعفف تعرفهم بسيماهم لا يسألون الناس إلحافا. They have special signs. They would never ask people or beg people for any financial support. These are the very people, إخوة الإيمان والإسلام, we need to look for. They should not look for us, we should look for them. إخوة الإيمان والإسلام, whatever you give, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will multiply that for you. Especially in the blessed month of Ramadan. We know good deeds are doubled in the month of Ramadan like no other times of the year. إخوة الإيمان والإسلام. Our beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as it is authentically reported to us, he used to be the most generous in Ramadan. كان أجود الناس صلى الله عليه وسلم في رمضان, as it is reported to us in the authentic hadith. The most generous amongst the people. Let us not neglect these brothers and sisters of Islam who perhaps do not share with us the same place or the same city or the same town, but they are somewhere out there in need of our sadaqah. Are you going to stretch your hand and help them with what they need? They need food, they need shelter, they need to pay their expenses, their bills, their rent. As I mentioned earlier, some of them lost their jobs and they don't have any income at all. What are they going to eat? Who's going to pay rent for them? Who's going to pay the bills for them? Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there for those who supplicate to Him. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us and tests them. He tests them with a certain level of poverty to see if they remain patient and place their trust in Allah. And He tests us subhanahu wa ta'ala with wealth and comfortable lives in order to see if we are generous enough to give for His sake, in order to see whether we give from that which He gives us subhanahu wa ta'ala. إخوة الإيمان والإسلام, I finish with this verse from the Quran al-Kareem, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Munafiqun, وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ. Give from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يَأْتِيَ أَحَدَكُمُ الْمَوْتِ. Before death comes to one of you. فَيَقُولَ رَبِّ لَوْلَا أَخَّرْتَنِي إِلَى أَجَلٍ قَرِيبٍ. When death comes to one of them, he or she will say, Oh my Lord, delay me a little bit. Delay me, give me a chance. فَأَصَّدَّقْ وَأَكُمْ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. If you delay me, O my Lord, I will give sadaqah, I will give charity. وَأَكُمْ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. And I will be amongst the righteous. Look at the first thing this person is saying to Allah when he's dying. He's not asking Allah, give me extra time in order to pray, in order to make hajj, in order to go for umrah or anything like that. He's asking Allah to extend his life in order to give sadaqah, because the people who have left this dunya, they know what sadaqah really means in the sight of Allah. They know how precious it is. They know how much its reward is once you leave this dunya. Ikhwat al-Iman wal-Islam, let us be as generous as we can. As remember that every wealth we earn every wealth we own, it originally belongs to Allah. Allah borrows it to us, and He will see how we manage this wealth. If we manage it in the way which it pleases Him, then He will increase it for us and bless it for us and reward us in this life and hereafter. But if we mismanage the wealth that Allah borrows us and provides for us, then we are wronging no one but ourselves. May Allah bless you. May Allah increase your wealth. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you and all your family members. إخوة الإيمان والإسلام، حياكم الله وبارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم.